Police in Pakistan-administered Kashmir have clashed with protesters demanding subsidies on food and electricity. At least 9 people have been killed and more than 200 injured. Hamza Muhammad reports.
A protest of a rising living cost and demand for government reforms turning into chaos, leaving several people, including police and civilians, killed and hundreds injured. Authorities say the death toll could rise. Officials accused the protesters of carrying guns and attacking security forces sent to stop them from blocking roads and damaging property. But the protesters denied the accusation.
We are a peaceful people and no force can silence our voice. From children to elders, every one of us is united in demanding our rights.
Protesters say they were fired on with live rounds.
The police have opened fire. Children have been injured and some of our brothers have been killed. Yet we have done nothing except rally peacefully. Is this a price for demanding justice?
The government says it has already agreed to most of the protesters' demands, including subsidies and reforms, but negotiations have collapsed. The unrest is led by the Awami Joint Action Committee, a coalition of religious and political groups. They accuse authorities of breaking their promises. Similar protests happened in Pakistan-administered Kashmir last year, when the government reached an agreement over subsidies with the demonstrators to end the unrest. The region is already scarred by decades of conflict between India and Pakistan and now faces a new crisis within its borders. Hamza Muhammad, Al Jazeera.
Well, joining us from Islamabad, Zafar Jaspal. He's a political analyst and an associate professor of international relations. That's at Quaid-e-Azam University. Thank you for speaking to us, Mr. Zafar. Well, when we look at these protests, why have people in Kashmir had to depend on the state for basics in the first place?
It's a reflection of the failure of the Azad Kashmir government. It failed to fulfill its promises to the people. And secondly, it's also a reflection of the increasing cost of life or inflation, which they are demanding in the form of subsidies on floor and electricity. Government has been doing its best, but they think that there is a disconnect between the government officials' living style and common people. So there is a elitist style which is now seems there, and that's why common people are frustrated.
Now, the government says that it's already agreed to most of the protesters' demands, including subsidies and reforms, but at the same time, negotiations have collapsed. Why is that, do you think?
In fact, there is a major demand. It's not a new demand. Since long they are demanding about the end of the, in the Azad Jammu Kashmir Legislative Assembly, with which they have their own, there are 12 seats from the Pakistan, and then there are other seats, which they call it refugee seats in the assembly. They think that these refugees are now settled in Pakistan, and they become a part and parcel of the interference of the Pakistani government in the internal affairs of the Azad Kashmir within the parliament. So these seats must be abolished. So this demand again and again, you can say, raised, but the government is not accommodating this demand. Besides the others, this is the major, you can say, stumbling block.
And if this is the stumbling block, does that mean that this is more perhaps about, that there's more to it than just subsidies, that this is also about politics? And why is you said the demand has been raised, why is it being ignored?
Because the general public, because many people from the Indian-occupied Kashmir, they settled in Pakistan in different cities. Many people migrated from the Kashmir when Mangla Dam was built, and there are other migrations. They say that even if we are living in Pakistan, we are Kashmiris, we have a right. But you have to not forget, if the right of vote within the Kashmir or their seats are not preserved, then there will be a difficult. So that is the point. But I think this needs a serious consideration where the central government team, which went there from Islamabad, very senior politicians from all the political parties, I mean the government parties, they debated, discussed there, but this is one flaw. And second is that when this crisis started, that was the time that immediately, if they anticipate the crisis, and instead of using the police force, they used the dialogue. Definitely today there is a different situation, but now we have some, you can say, casualties, naturally settling down on the casualties is taking time.
So what you're saying, from what I understand from you, is there's more of a police crackdown here. What next now then for the protesters? As we saw in that report by my colleague, and also as you mentioned, a similar protest happened in Pakistan-administered Kashmir last year, again over subsidies. The unrest, though, did end with an agreement. So what has changed and what next?
I think that in this agreement, definitely central government agreed on the subsidies. It agreed on the subsidy on the electricity, floor, and other things. It will try to pump more money in the Kashmir for addressing especially the medical challenges. But we have to not forget the impact of the environmental changes and the way it is, you can say, hindering in the project completions. There are many projects which are delayed and the people are demanding. The main question is on the governance of the Azad Kashmir government. So they are protesting. And that's the point where, though it started by the common people for a common demands, but it has been broader in its scope, which included constitutional, or what you call it, statutory grants, and that is a difficult situation.
So it seems to be expanding away just from subsidies. Thank you very much, Mr. Zafar Jaspal there.
Thank you very much.
Don't miss out the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.